Hi, my name's Dean Leake. I'm a performance coach with 20 years experience working across Olympic and Paralympic gold medal winning teams, UK government officials, FTSE 100 companies and the British Army. And during that time, through my experiences and lessons and failures, I've been decoding what does it take to lead our teams through change. Let me start by asking you this question. Hands up if you think that you're a leader. Like, go with me on this one. I know this is a video, but hands up if you think that you're a leader. But the humbling truth is this: you don't get to decide whether you're a leader. Leadership isn't a title that we claim or a position that we push with authority onto others. Leadership is about creating the conditions during change for people to thrive and to flourish. Now, the question isn't really whether you're a leader or whether you're in charge. It's whether people decide to follow the culture that you set, or most importantly, the shadow that you cast. Because during change and during disruption, leading in uncertainty, people don't follow mandates, they follow movements. Because mandates create resistance, movements create momentum. Now, we're facing unprecedented times where there's a huge level of disengagement, disruption, and distraction. And I use the analogy that people are feeling like there's emotional jet lag. And this is a gap between the speed of organizational change and the speed of human adaptation. So whether it's a reorg or redundancies or a system refresh, leadership are oftentimes living in a different time zone. They've stepped off the plane, they're acclimatized, they're ready to go, they're ready to do the next thing, they're ready to work at pace. Whereas the rest of the organization haven't even stepped onto the plane yet. So they're feeling quite disorientated, they're feeling fatigued, they're feeling frustrated, they're feeling like there's a lack of clarity. So there's this gap between leadership and the rest of the organization. We're still treating culture and change initiatives like an iOS software download, that we are trying to force compliance, we're trying to mandate things, we're trying to measure adoption. And it just isn't working. It isn't set up for creating a thriving team culture during this crazy change that we're experiencing. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can use to help lead your team through change. Tip number 1 is clarity. When dealing with uncertainties and disruption, what's really important is communication. Research shows that it's 10 times worse to under-communicate than it is to over-communicate. So what people really crave is clarity. And there's that famous quote that the biggest illusion in communication is the illusion that communication has already taken place. And it's so true, isn't it? Because when there is that void in communication, the thing that we're very good as human beings is telling stories. So we fill it with noise and we fill it with cynicism, and that just ends up creating distraction. It ends up creating an erosion of trust, and it really hampers performance and productivity. So how do we create a story where we talk to people regularly about this is where we are right now, this is where we're trying to get to, and this is why it matters? And I think about it in the context of creating freedom within a framework. Because what we want is agency for people to solve problems and to feel like that they thrive. And actually we can enable that by giving boundaries, by giving guardrails, by people having a clear expectation of not only what's expected of them, but this is the way that we do things around here. So tip number 1, clarity. Tip number 2, experimentation. And this was a mindset that led to the British Olympic system being very successful for years to come. And it's this idea that in order for us to adapt and thrive and be able to understand what it takes to win in these changing circumstances, that can only be possible at a local level through experimentation. Because things aren't as predictive as they used to be and not as mechanical and mechanistic as they once were, we're dealing with a totally new set of circumstances. So it's important that we empower people to feel that they can experiment, that they can practice things, they can try things, really embeds this learning mindset. Because performance and success is an outcome. The way we get there, and those that are most successful, is adopting that learning mindset. So enable people to experiment, and then our job is to amplify the stories. What's working? What isn't working? What can be tried in different parts of the organization? That's the mindset that's going to allow us to thrive and adapt in this modern era. Tip number 3, leading yourself. And I think this is the most important. So you're constantly context switching on a daily basis. And in order for you to lead your organization effectively, it's important that you look after yourself. In one moment, you're in 100-meter sprints, constantly at speed, going at full pace. And then the next moment, you're in a marathon run where it feels quite tactical. And you're always in the performance arena, always delivering your best. And if we don't pay attention to that, there's a risk that we burn out, it leads to stress, and we're just not actually bringing our full potential and being our best for others. So this is about moving ourselves out of that performance arena and into what I'd call the warm-up arena. And this is about creating space. And you can do this just within 2 minutes before any meeting, any forum, any pitch, any conversation you're having. And what you're doing is you're creating your brain space to think about, how do I want to show up? You're priming your brain to be ready, okay? Because oftentimes we just jump in. So this is just asking yourself a couple of questions. How do I want to show up here? So that you get to choose rather than just reacting. How are they seeing the world? What's important to them? What challenges are they facing? What would a successful outcome look like? So what you're doing is you're priming your brain to be ready so that when you get into the performance arena, you maximize potential to deliver your best. Thank you for listening to this pep talk video. I've talked to you today about the 3 tips of leading change through effective communication, how you're able to experiment, and how you're able to lead yourself. Because leading through these times that we're facing at the moment, where change is constant and things feel very volatile, it's important that we take a step back and think a bit more deliberately about how we not only just engage people to create a movement, but move away through this old school kind of mandate environment where we think change only happens at the center and top down, that inevitably just through psychology leads to resistance. So I hope this video has been useful. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned.